Welcome to the Prospectors Radio Show, the talk show for our community. Please welcome Rich Cooley, Indiana Gold Hunter Dennis Dayton, Kathleen Biffle, and your host, Tim Grimes.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another edition of Prospector Radio. I'm your host, Tim Grimes, and joining me tonight, as always, we got Kathleen and Shad Biffle. Dennis Dayton's here as well. And also joining us tonight, we have a very special guest. Mr. Carl Fismer is here with us, also known as The Fizz. I know you guys got to know who this is. Everybody knows who Carl is. How you doing tonight, Carl?
Thanks for that introduction, Tim. That was a good one. And thanks to everybody there on your staff for having me on tonight. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's our pleasure, man. I mean, it's like, it's not often we get to speak to a legend. It's like, come on. It's like, Carl, how long have you been treasure hunting? I mean,
I think it's somewhere about 47 or 48 years. But every once in a while I run into somebody that says, no, it's 50 years. And then somebody that 40, but somewhere between 45 and 50 years.
Wow. And what got you started in it? I mean,
well, I couldn't decide what I wanted to be when I grew up, I guess. And I still haven't. But what got me into it was several things. As a little kid, when I was born, my parents owned a movie theater. And so my early years, I remember all the old pirate movies, you know, Douglas Fairbanks Jr. and Errol Flynn and Captain Blood. And every Halloween, I'd insist on wearing a pirate suit.
Okay.
And one of the first things I ever got in the mail was, when I was a kid, the backs of comic books used to have these advertisements saying, hey kids, sell flowers, win prizes. And I saw an old white face mask as one of the prizes. I knew what it was, but I never had one in my hand. You know, I'm living there in Cincinnati, Ohio, and we don't exactly have an ocean.
Right.
And so I sent away for the flowers. I beat the bushes in the neighborhood. I sold them. And the second thing I ever got in the mail was a box from the flower company with an old white face mask in it. I must have been about 9 or 10, maybe, I think. My dad had died when I was 8 years old. It was just like shortly after that. But I remember running up and turning on the water in the bathtub and filling it up, and that's the first place I used it. And after that, I started diving in the gravel pits around the counties up there. Just with that mask. I don't mean with anything else.
Right.
The best thing I ever got out of the gravel pit, there was a big metal stringer with a whole bunch of catfish in it. Somehow they had pulled the string.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I swam them back into the beach.
I'll be darned.
That's rocky shoreline.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I got started. And of course, when I was an adult, I was diving before I moved away from Ohio.
Right.
But I moved here to Florida. I was a single dad with 2 little kids, so it was kind of tough. But
sure.
By the time I got a good job on the Sarasota Fire Department, and eventually I was in charge of the fire boat and the diving and the rescue teams. And we were out diving once. We were supposed to practice our rescue and recovery work.
Right.
But by accident, we anchored over a shipwreck, a modern shipwreck. It looked like a World War II thing to me. A mini freighter broke in half. And so instead of practicing, it was full of copper tubing. And we started bending all that tubing out of there. Because, you know, copper's bad for the environment.
Okay.
So we needed to get that copper out. Plus, copper was a precious metal, too.
Sure.
So 6 guys, 2 tanks all day. I hauled that to the junkyard the next day, and I think we got $11.40 or something. And
wow.
I said, there's money in shipwrecks. So I said, well, I better get on the shipwrecks and have money on them if I'm going to do that. So
Right.
I started going to the Keys once a month, because on the fire department you can trade a shift. Work 24 on, 48 off. If you work 48 on, you get 5 days off.
Okay.
And I trailered my boat down to the Keys at least once a month for 9 years.
Oh, wow.
Then I finally quit my job on the fire department, moved to the Keys, and got into it full time.
Oh,
It was
wow.
tough at first, but
Sure.
after a while, it's been paying off. I've done pretty good. I've done better than most.
Right.
But so it's kept me going. It still is.
Right.
I'm as active as I ever was.
It's like it's living the dream. I mean, you're doing what you love.
Yeah, well, that's true, and I don't consider it work.
Right.
And I'm doing it for 7 days a week, and everybody else either retired years ago, or most of my friends that stayed in Cincinnati are
Right.
deceased now.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked for General Motors up there, and nobody believed I was going to quit because they said, well, General Motors holds their employees with a golden chain.
Right.
And they do, kind of. But
Mm-hmm.
I turned in my notice, and about a week later, I was in St. Petersburg for the first, and then Sarasota was just down the road. I settled there for 9 years. Because like I said, I had 2 young kids
Right.
with me, so I had to be very good, very careful, and,
Sure.
and make sure I got jobs that had insurance. But the fire department job was great, and I really put my heart and soul into that. Not to brag too much, but I was Fireman of the Year in 1974.
Oh, wow. Congrats.
And I was in the very first paramedic class down here in Central Florida.
That's cool.
So, yeah. And if you look at my book, Uncharted Waters, how I got the job with Art McKee, because he's when I first went to see him, I drove down there because I was frustrated, failing every attempt I was doing at Treasure. And
Right.
I pulled right into Art McKee's driveway. He was on a riding lawnmower. He got touched on it down. He got off. He said, "I'm Art McKee." I said, "Yes, sir. I know you are. I'm Carl Fismer. I'd like to be a treasure hunter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to work for nothing just to learn some things." And he said, "I'll bet you're a diver, right?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Well, what else can you do?" And I must have got another dumb look on my face. And he said, "Well, are you a boat captain?" And at the time I wasn't. I said, "No, sir." He said, "Well, can you work on the small motors? That's very important. You got mechanic abilities." I said, "No, sir." He said, "How about can you cook? That's very important." "No." He said, "Do you have any medical training?" I said, "I'm sorry." He said, "See what I mean? Everybody's a diver." So I got back in my car and went to Sarasota. Art lived next to the museum he built, the very first sunken treasure museum in the United States. And the 1733 fleet there, that's where treasure hunting in the United States started.
Oh.
So in a way I did too, thanks to Art McKee. But 2 years later, I drove back to the Keys and pulled into his driveway. He was again on the riding lawnmower. He got off and he said, "I met you before." I said, "Yes, sir. I'm Carl Fismer. I'd like to be a treasure hunter. I'm willing to work for free." And he said, "I'll bet you're a diver, right?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "What else can you do?" I said, "I'm a boat captain. I can work on small engines. I'm a certified paramedic. And I can cook, and I have a 100-ton captain license." And he said, "You're going on the next trip."
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I did all that in about a 2-year period.
Dang. Yeah, you were determined.
Yeah, so these days somebody will come up to me and say, "I'd like to be a treasure hunter." And I say, "I'll bet you're a diver, right?"
You use the same line on them, huh?
Well, it
works.
Yeah, Art McKee, the father of modern-day treasure hunting. Everybody that's anybody broke in under Art. In fact, I was the last one. He was in the hospital in Homestead in 1980, and I talked to him on the phone every day.
Right.
And the last day, he was coming home tomorrow, and I had him on the phone. I said, Art, the Keys newspaper today has you in there saying you're the father of modern-day treasure hunting.
Wow.
He said, well, that's okay as long as they don't call me the grandfather. Yeah, and he, unfortunately, on his way home the next morning, they stopped for breakfast at, I forget the restaurant, but he had another heart attack there, and that was the end of it.
Oh, gee, that's a shame. Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah,
man. But you learn from the best, obviously.
Absolutely.
You know,
but I got lucky. Because after him, a guy named D.L. Cheney asked me to work on his boat. Here again, another dynamic, great treasure hunter who was low-key about everything.
Okay.
And he was working with Jack Haskins. And Jack Haskins, everybody in our business knows the diving, treasure hunter, metal detector, Spanish galleon research, owes Jack Haskins a big thank you.
Okay.
And there was Jack Haskins working on D.L. Cheney's boat, and here I come, a rookie just from Art McKee's funeral. And Jack wouldn't talk to me because his motto was, don't train them, you're only, don't educate them, you're only training the competition.
Right.
And he meant it. I fixed him good. I worked with him for the next 32 years until he left this world. That'll teach him to talk poorly about me.
That's right. You showed him.
I don't mind telling you, I wouldn't know half what I know except for Jack Haskins. And anybody that knows the treasure diving business will tell you the same thing.
See, that's just amazing. I mean, the people you've come up around that have shown you and kind of guided you, I guess we'd say, throughout your years to.
Yeah. Yes, I don't mind telling you, I'm probably the luckiest person you've ever met.
Mm-hmm. I mean, man, it's like an honor. Legends.
That's how I felt working with Jack and D.L. Cheney and Art McKee before that. So anyway,
So do you?
I try to be, good and nice and polite to everybody.
Right. Well, yeah.
I only get bitter about politicians, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've had your run-in with them over the years. I could only imagine. Well, that's true. In fact, I just came up with the answer to the question about what's the most dangerous thing I've ever had to face, and that's called Congress. There you go, Dennis. Answered that one.
Exactly.
Well, I've been in 3 nasty hurricanes, not by choice, and Hurricane Lily scared me. Yes, it was in 1996. I was on Great Inagua, as far down in the Bahamas as you can get, and Lily went past one time, and we thought it was gone, but she turned around and came right back and jumped on us for 3 days.
Oh, wow.
I got a broken arm, broken nose, lost 2 out of 3 boats.
Wow.
Severely damaged the other one.
Jeez.
But if anything good came out of it, my engineer and I, right as the storm was getting going, there was a boat full of Haitian people broke down about 5 miles offshore. And we went and got them and brought them in because the Bahamian Navy, who happened to be there, wouldn't go get them.
Oh, wow.
The Haitian captain came in and was begging the Navy to go. There was 20 people on that boat.
Oh, yeah, they don't all die.
They stuff him, but he comes to me, and what was I going to do? Say no?
Right.
I said, Greg, crank up the engines. So anyway, that was the good thing that came out of it, and everything else we lost.
Oh, geez.
My best boat, the research vessel, lost, is still on the rocky shoreline over there at Great Inagua.
Is it really? Wow.
Yeah, that boat paid for itself over 200 times.
Wow.
I got that boat when D.L. Cheney left this world.
Uh-huh.
Then it came to me, and Jack Haskins said, I don't have a contract to work the fleet. I said, Jack, you don't need one. You can work on mine.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when we got to be really good buddies. And he said, well, what do you want me to do? And I said, what do I want you to do? You're Jack Haskins. What do you want me to do? Yeah. And we had some good years after that. Really
bet.
Good ones.
I bet. I can only imagine to be a fly on the wall, in some of them.
Yeah.
Some of them times.
I never thought at the time I'd be telling that story. He said, well, what do you want me to do? I said, what do I want you to do?
Yeah. Wait a minute. Yeah, you're the legend. Wait a minute. That's crazy. But now, do you remember, the first wreck you dove on that was, we'll say a treasure wreck
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was with D.L. Cheney, and that actually got me going, because I had been treasure hunting for 6 years, and I had found stuff, but I hadn't found any Spanish treasure points.
Right.
And that was the year it was in 1980. It might have been 81.
81. Okay.
Yeah. And we worked on the cabin site of the 1715 fleet. I mean, it's, between Fort Pierce and Sebastian, a fleet of 11 Spanish galleons sank here in the year 1750. I'm working them right. In fact, I'm in Fort Pierce right now.
Right. Dang.
The hurricane just went by. I don't guess I'll get my boat in the water for another 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
It's like 3 to 4 foot seas, and it's still rougher than heck out there.
Yeah.
But it was here. D.L. Cheney, the cabin site is where one of the wrecks sank, and it's up in Sebastian. I spent 3 or 4 years on that most of the time, but I also went to other wrecks.
Right.
And I guess that first year up there, I bought what's a Harding metal detector. Nobody's ever heard of him because he was a friend of mine that built it.
Okay.
I paid him $4,000 cash for that machine. If you can believe it. Everybody said, you're crazy. I said, well, yeah, but so what? But the first day I jumped in the water with that Harding metal detector, I had 175 8s and 4s.
What?
8 reals and 4, yes. I threw them all down my wet jacket. I come out of there looking kind of porky. And when I unzipped it, all them coins fell on the deck. And I knew right at that moment that I found myself here, and I ain't never going to do nothing else.
No, wow, God, no, you'd be doomed. I mean, even if you didn't want to be, after a find like that, you're doomed. I mean, I want to find more. And,
yes.
Well,
that's what we did. On that same wreck, D.L. Cheney and myself took over 5,000 coins off that wreck.
Wow.
My best day, I got 508.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
To find that many.
It is. I still look back and say, that's amazing.
I mean, it is. That's.
Would you say that's your favorite
Yeah.
treasure you've ever found? Do you have a favorite?
Well, I have favorite artifacts, and I like religious artifacts.
Okay.
The crosses and things. But I found one time an intact reliquary. It's a small oval box and made out of copper and layered in gold, 22 karat gold.
Wow.
And inside of it was 2 hand-carved rosewood rosaries and the crosses were inlaid with 22 karat gold.
Oh, wow.
And right where the cross beams cross, in each one of those was 2 little slivers of wood, and it's from the cross of a saint or a martyr from 2,000 years ago when the Romans crucified him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's my favorite
Holy
thing of everything I picked up. Yeah, holy what?
Yeah.
That's right. But, you know,
Wow.
like for example, when St. Peter was killed, he said, I want to be crucified upside down. I don't deserve to die like Jesus.
Uh-huh.
And they did that to him. But after he was dead, the faithful cut his cross up and distributed little pieces. Now, I'm not saying when I got came from St. Peter, but it came from one of them back in those days.
But what if it did? I mean, wow.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. And that it survived. That, you know.
Yes. Yes. Hand-carved rosewood did really good for being underwater 300 years.
Yeah. And then to think you found this, and this item's, it's got to be as priceless, I'm sure, especially to you. It's like, man, to find anything like that just goes above and beyond. I mean, finding a piece of 8 would be cool, but when you find something like that, that's like, no, that would be a tough one to beat. You know?
So do you display anywhere?
Go ahead. What'd you say?
Is all of that on display anywhere?
I'd had it on display in the jewelry store down in Key Largo. We do a lot of treasure things there. It's called DePaula Jewelers in Key Largo.
Right.
It's in the Tavernier Shopping Center, and we have big get-togethers there, and a lot of my stuff is there on display. And, the public's free to come in and see it. I have other artifacts, though, in different museums, but the reliquary is kind of special to me, and so I stop in and see it every time I go down there, of course.
Yeah. That's just too cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it's fun. The artifacts are great. We've recovered many of them. Them flintlock pistols.
That'd be cool.
I guess I've brought in 25, maybe.
Uh-huh.
But some of them were fitted in bronze with gargoyles on the butt.
Really?
Those weapons belonged to very important people back in the old days.
Sure. Now, do you...
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask, do you try to track a relic back to who owned it?
Some of them you can, that's correct.
Okay.
But there was no luck on that reliquary because every boat had holy men on board, priests.
Right.
And there would only be records of the priest being on there, and you knew he had this, but there was no, and you'd even know his name, but there was no way they knew what slivers of wood.
Right.
From what was crossed.
Right. But like those guns and stuff, would it be possible to track them back? Mm-hmm.
Those guns, you just find out who was in charge because these were the best weapons ever.
Right.
And of course, the captain generals or the ship's captains undoubtedly have the best weapons.
Sure.
We know their names.
Right. Wow. That's just cool. So how many different ships have you dove on, Carl? Any idea? Treasure.
Well, not really. I guess. I guess maybe 300, but
oh wow, okay.
That sounds like a lot. But some of them I wasn't on 5 minutes.
Right.
I have, thanks to Jack Haskins, I developed a rapid identification.
Okay.
And it works most of the time. There's things I like to see, and there's things I don't like to see.
I got you.
I can burn one tank of air looking around.
Mm-hmm.
And D.L. Cheney was good on that, too, because one time we found a British wreck with a whole bunch of bronze stuff laying around it.
Mm-hmm.
And I hurried up and got my gear on and jumped in the water because I knew when D.L. Cheney came down, he was going to yank me out and we were going to leave. So I grabbed as much bronze and brass as I could in my bag. And as soon as he got to the bottom, he grabbed me and gave me the thumb back to the boat. You think those are good souvenirs and picking and things, but I only know of 2 Spanish galleons that were fitted in bronze.
Okay.
So if I see bronze, I don't like it. If I see this old cast iron big bars that were just bent around the rudder and the gudgeons and things, that's good because the Spanish were the cheapest shipbuilders in the history of the world.
Really?
And their wrecks look like just old rotten junk, rusty and everything. And you see that, but then you say, money on this boat.
Oh, I got you. Okay. See?
Yeah, there's Captain Fizz's tip of the week.
You know what to look for. That's the key. And that's came from years and from being taught by other, great divers and treasure hunters too. It's like, wow, that's
Now, and even go ahead,
Kathleen.
Oh, well, they say gold does some crazy things to people. When you've
what
been
did you say? Go ahead.
Gold can do some crazy things to people, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So, on a lot of your adventures, how do you keep the crew honest? I mean, have you ever been in a situation where you caught somebody being dishonest?
Yes. Well, that we were working down in Panama at the time, and we were working under Noriega. Everybody said he'll kill you, he'll steal your treasure, but he didn't. We did a contract with Noriega. When we were done, we made 3 piles of treasure. He sent a general over to pick one, and we came home with the other 2 big piles of treasure.
Wow!
And there you have it. See, here's the difference. There's Noriega, the dictator, the murderer, the drug runner. He's in the State Department told us he's in the drug business, and I said, you're just finding that out? We've known it in the Keys for 25 years. And he'll kill you. And anyhow, the point is, there's Noriega, all those bad things, and he kept his word. We made a deal, and he kept his word, and we came home with 66% of the treasure.
Wow.
You're never going to get that kind of honesty in Washington, D.C., or Tallahassee. They're just full of all kinds of liars and cheaters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Never trust a politician or a bureaucrat. Never. That's the best advice I can give you.
Oh, that's some good advice for sure.
What about the scariest moment? You found, you were telling us about the kind of the best item you found. What's the most scariest moment you ever had?
Well,
Giant shark?
We see sharks all the time. I've never had a shark from. I've seen hundreds of them, all different kinds and sizes. Working down in, I was working alongside Duke Long down in Panama in 1988, and all of a sudden he jabbed me on the arm, and I looked. He's pointing up, and I look up over top of us, and there's about a dozen hammerhead sharks, and I mean big ones. I mean 12 feet or so.
Man.
And I looked at them, and I just knew right away, number one, the hammerhead, believe it or not, is one of the fast swim. I saw films of hammerheads swimming other sharks down and eating them.
Oh,
but
man.
as I'm looking up at these, they had the biggest, fattest bellies I've ever. They were as big around as they were long, and I knew, right, they were well fed, and they were just watching us because they're curious.
Right.
I had one shark swim right under my arm when I'm hand-fanning the hole, and he looked down in the hole I was digging, and there wasn't nothing there, so he left.
Hey, Captain. We have an acquaintance that we might know, the Arizona treasure hunter. He's been on our show before, Cody Drake.
Yeah, I just sent him a coin for his girlfriend. Or is it, maybe it's his wife. I'm sorry.
His wife, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Her name is Kim, I think.
Kim, yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't remember everybody's status. I thought they were boyfriends and girlfriends, but that's his wife. And maybe she just now found out.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Kathleen.
What's that?
I said she just now found out the coin's in the mail.
Yep.
Oh. The coin's in the mail. Well, anyway, he wanted me to ask you to share your penguin story. And I don't know what that is.
Penguins?
Yes, that's in uncharted waters. I'll tell you a little funny story about that. Just George Sykes, maybe you guys heard of him, maybe you didn't. He's 96 years old. He's older than me, and he's still treasure hunting. And he called me up. When I answered the phone, he said, "Fizz, this is George." I said, "Oh, how you doing?" He said, "I know you're busy, but I have to tell you, I'm reading your book, and I'm to the chapter about the witch and the penguin." And I said, "Yeah." He said, "I swear you're standing right here telling me that story." And I said, "George, you're 96. I am standing there telling you that story." He broke out laughing and hung up. The story, basically, it had to do, one of the fabulous lost treasures was called the Treasure of Lima.
Okay.
And it was in early 1800s, and King Ferdinand VII in Spain, that was when Simon Bolivar was going through liberating the countries. And the King of Spain ordered his money shipped out of there and sent to him in Spain. And so they loaded a boat up, a ship, an English ship actually, with great wealth. Nobody really knows how great, but great wealth. One of the greatest treasures you could ever find. And the boat sailed away and never heard from again.
Okay.
These two guys came up from Peru and were in a treasure coin shop in Miami. Said they needed a diver, a treasure diver. Fortunately, a friend of mine worked there. He said, "Okay, call this guy." Next thing you know, I'm on a plane with them flying to Peru, and they said they found the Treasure of Lima. It was a shipwreck in shallow water, and they followed all the clues.
Mm-hmm.
The mountain in the right position at the good time of year, putting the shadow down across the creek and just at the bend, and all those like Indiana Jones clues.
Right.
And so I thought, well, what the heck? It was in the month of July, so I just took a thin wetsuit jacket and what gear I need, because it's in July.
Right.
And so we get down there, and we get I had to go meet a witch first.
What?
She had to make sure I was a good person. There's good witches and bad witches. I didn't know that until I got down there.
Right.
I went to a good one, and I had to stand over a smudge pot, smoking. Well, I don't mean smoking the funny stuff, but it smelled kind of odd. And she was walking around me making some kind of chant, and then she put this decorated bottle up to her lips, and after about 3 or 4 minutes, she went and she spit all that stuff all over me.
Uh-huh.
And then she went out and told the guys that brought me there that I was a good guy and they could trust me. And so we were leaving. I said, "Hey, damn, I could have told you that. Because it's safe going to see her." But so now we get in the boat. We drive 100 miles up the coast. They got a boat rented there. We get in it, and we come out, and now they're pointing down. The water's only 20 feet deep, and I can see a wreck down there.
Right.
And I could have told them right then, "Guys, this ain't the treasure of Lima, but they're pointing at mountains way the heck over off to the east side of us, and see those two mountains and they're lighting up and the sun shining, and I thought, holy man. I knew it wasn't, but just because we come a long way and spent a lot of money,
right.
I said, okay, I'll gear up, I'll jump in, and I'll swim around, and I'll come back and tell them. So I put my gear on, I went over the side, and all of a sudden my eyes opened in disbelief that I would do something like that to my body. It was ice water.
Oh,
it's the Humboldt Current coming up from the Antarctica, and it's July is winter time down there.
Oh,
it's not summer. And I froze up in the fetal position, and I'm sinking slowly to the bottom, and I can't move. My lips were numb, everything.
Oh, geez.
And so I just get to the bottom, and I'm sitting there on my butt. I can't stand up, and I'm looking at the wreck. It's a modern iron wreck. It's maybe been there 50 or 60 years.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, okay, I got to get right back to the boat. And then I said, oh, man, them guys are expecting me to look around. So I'm sitting there, and I'm trying to just straighten up. And all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I saw this black flash. And now I'm thinking, oh, no. It's a big shark, and he's hungry.
Uh-huh.
And just I slowly turned my head just as the black flash gets right, maybe 12 inches away from my faceplate, and it's a penguin.
Oh.
And he's standing there looking me right in the eye, and I said, please help me. And he's looking at me like, and so he just took a few good looks, and then he swam away, and 5 minutes later I went back to the boat, and I got in, and I said, sorry guys, this isn't a treasure ship, it's a modern wreck. And they took it quite well.
Oh, wow.
For all the money, yeah, okay, we'll keep looking. And
wow.
We'll come and get you if we find another one. I said, okay. But here's the end of that story. The next morning, we stayed the night in a hotel, and it had a bar and restaurant. They swinging doors.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the old saloons?
Oh, yeah.
And so I push the doors open, and I step in the next morning for breakfast, and there the two guys are sitting all the way down a long, narrow, big room, bar on one side and tables up and down. And they busted out laughing when they saw me. And I thought, hey, is my zipper down? What happened here? And I look, and as I look down, it's another penguin is standing there right next to me. And he's looking up at me, and I'm looking down at him. I wish I could tell you it was the same one, but he couldn't. And so I start walking towards the table, and he's walking right alongside of me. So I get to the table, and we're going to have breakfast. And I just picked him up and set him on the chair next to me, and the waitress come over, and huevos con jamón and por mi amigo pescado, por favor. And I have ham and eggs, and I ordered fish for the penguin. And she brought the food, and we ate it. And then after that, he got off his chair and went out the door. I never saw him again.
Oh, no.
What's
That's a story.
I've got a. If you're out there and you're diving, and you come across a treasure, or you find something, what's the process you have to go through? Like, do you have to report it to the state, or I mean,
yeah,
what do you
down
do
here you do.
Treasure?
1715 fleet. Everything we bring up, we have to what we call tag it and bag it and log it, and the boss here is John Brandon, and we just keep him informed of everything we're doing. And then he makes his reports to the owners. The 1715 fleet is owned by a group of of business people called the Queen's Jewels.
Mm-hmm.
And well, what they do is they do all the legal stuff. They fight the legal battles. And believe you me, there's a lot of them.
I bet.
And in exchange, our division is they get half of everything we find, and we get half of everything we find.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of people say, oh, gosh, 50%. But I'm telling you, I'd rather be on the 50% where I have to go find it than the 50% where I've got to argue with bureaucrats all the time.
Agreed. Yeah. Agreed, definitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now,
it used to be you could file an admiralty claim and you own the wreck.
mm-hmm.
It's the old law of the sea. It's been around as long as the first boat on the water
Right.
that ever sank. Admiralty law. My cardiologist said, that's in ancient Jewish scripture. I said, I'm sure it is. Get me a copy of that, will you? And basically what it is that if your boat sinks, you still own that boat.
Right.
And you say, I'm going to try to salvage it, or I'm going to try and bring stuff off of it. And as long as you're trying to do that, you have no problem. You own it. But when the day comes where you said, okay, I quit, I give up, I'm done with that, then somebody like me could come along and say, I'd like a shot at it.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's how the law was for thousands of years.
Right.
And then one day in 1987, Ted Kennedy said he didn't like that. And so since he didn't like it, well, the law had to be changed to where the state owns everything.
Gotcha.
There was another long, nasty battle full of lies and thievery.
Oh, of course it would be, right?
And not on our part.
No. I mean...
Anyways, that's where we are today. Eventually, I have a lot of young guys that want to get in the business, and, I say, oh, I bet you're a diver, right?
Right.
And the ones that I do help, I feel sorry for them because I at least had a good shot. I got to spend time really with it, with the big guys in the business.
Right.
And these days, with every time two politicians look at each other, there's another law against me trying to find a coin in the water.
Sure. And that, like you said, back when you started, it wasn't as political. And now it is. And it's like everything's a struggle. You find a piece, you got to deal with all this red tape and all the bureaucracy and the crap that goes with it. Where back when you started, it wasn't like that. So it makes it tougher, And
it does, and it keeps going and it keeps going.
Sure. And it's probably going to get worse, more than likely, because everything seems
it
to.
It is. Believe me, we are now dinosaurs officially. We are not far from being totally gone on. Like you were talking at the Bureau of Land Management. Well, there's metal detector clubs across the country, all over. I've been to. I don't know how many. I never counted them, but I gave talks at dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of hundreds of them.
Right.
Over the last and I said, you guys realize it, every day another section or two of ground is taken away from you where it's posted, you can't metal detector here.
Right.
Stay off, keep away, get out, where you're under arrest.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually the whole United States will be no trespassing, posted,
Sure.
Stay off of here, don't bring them metal detectors.
Sure. Yep.
Every day, more ground is lost.
Yep.
When it first started dawning on me what's happening, why is our own government cheating and robbing? Of course, now I know. But we formed groups, we fought them as much as we all chipped in, but in the old days, the politicians did not care about old shipwrecks.
Right.
They were just old rotten hulks out in the ocean.
Sure.
Until Art McKee, the father of modern day, started bringing in gold and silver.
Yep.
And then And then here in Fort Pierce, they started bringing in more and more. And then suddenly the politicians said, we need to pass laws to protect those artifacts.
Yeah.
Sure they did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just a game. It's a racket, I swear it is.
So would they prefer it to stay out there in the wreck, or is
yes,
it? Wow.
Yes, they would. The taxpayers will not hold still for funding bureaucrats to go treasure hunting.
Mm-hmm.
But another thing they did was they started beating everybody, the public, to death with the word archaeology. They said, well, you need an archaeologist. Well, it's got to be done archaeologically. Well, the truth of the matter is, it's the private person has done it all in this business, and every shipwreck in the Western Hemisphere is post-Columbian. We already know all about them. The Spanish, especially, meticulous records keepers.
Mm-hmm.
Everything filled out in triplicate. One set of records would sail with the boat. Another would sail a year later. The third would stay in the home port. That's why Jack Haskins was so good at finding. He could translate archaic Spanish, which is what he did most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
People paid him to go to Seville, Spain, and translate documents. And so as a result, which I now own, he left it to me when he passed away. And I didn't know that. I didn't know he didn't have family. I guess he figured after 32 years of being together, I was it. He left me his house, his car.
Oh, wow.
I have the largest private collection of archival research in the world.
Wow.
And the only reason I found that out is I talked to other people who have big collections as well.
Mm-hmm.
But no point going into naming
Sure.
them, but I've got the biggest one. So if you want archival research, you have to come to me, because the King of Spain doesn't let treasure hunters in over there anymore. He finally realized he'd been giving away billions of dollars worth of information, and he was.
Yeah.
But he don't do that no more.
I bet he don't.
That's it for you. Yeah.
I bet he don't. Now, is there a ship that you've heard of and never got to dive on and have always wanted to?
Well, actually, there's probably 15 or 20.
Oh, okay.
And here again, something bad that has happened because of Washington, D.C.
Okay.
There's no such thing anymore as international waters.
Gotcha.
There's like hundreds of offshore reefs all around the world.
Right.
But I'm wearing a coin from the wreck of the Conception, that's probably the best place I've ever been. It's called Silver Shoals Reef. It's 40 square miles of dangerous reef heads. A lot of them stick out of the water at low tide.
Right.
And the closest point of land is 75 miles.
Okay.
It's an offshore reef.
Gotcha.
But the Dominican Republic claimed, because the wreck of the Conception's out there, the Dominican Republic says, we own that reef. They didn't own that reef. They never did. They never cared about it. And then the Turks and Caicos said the same thing, because Turks and Caicos is 75 miles. They're the two closest countries to that big reef.
Mm-hmm.
So Turks and Caicos sent a gunboat out, and the Dominican Republic sent a gunboat out, but their gunboat was bigger, so the Turks and Caicos gunboat went home.
Wow.
But now, multiply that by every offshore reef in the whole world. There are none. There is no international water. Colombia claims they own a bunch of them. Honduras claims they own a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, Honduras and Colombia almost went to war a couple years ago over who owns those offshore reefs.
Really?
So there is no more. If you want to go somewhere and work a wreck now, you have to get permission from whatever country has the biggest navy that says they own that reef. Plus, it used to be we were allowed to have guns on board.
Right.
And now No more. No more guns on board the salvage vessels. In other words, somebody wants to take you down, they're going to take you down.
Right, exactly. So, do you think that a lot of these treasures will just remain at the bottom of the sea forever because of the way things have gotten?
That's a hard guess. Now, there's also now easier access to the really deep wrecks.
Mm-hmm.
I had a pet deep wreck in World War II when it has, by today's multiplication, like a couple of $1 trillion worth of gold on board.
Wow.
It's in 15,000 feet of water, and there was an excellent book written about it by one of the survivors who even went to Germany at the end of World War II and actually met the German submarine crew and captain that sank that boat.
Uh-huh.
And he got a lot of information from the captain as to the location of that ship. And it is like more than 100 miles from any place. But as soon as somebody goes there and starts looking for it in deep water salvage, you're going to hear some country jump up. We own that. We own that. and they have Washington, D.C.'s blessing.
Oh,
Washington, D.C. likes for them to cheat us because they want us totally out of business.
Sure. Right. So do you just basically just stay in your own backyard now, so to speak, when you dive? And now, I mean, do you...
Well, for summer months right here, but
Mm-hmm.
I've lucked out because I have a friend who's the only one that has permission in a big certain area of the Caribbean because of the country that says they own it. I'm trying to tell you in a roundabout way how come we could do that. But, maybe I'll put it in the book and you can read it.
Oh, there you go.
But it's legal. It's legal, and they have a bunch of wrecks, and I will be going there with two good friends of mine.
Oh, that's cool.
Who are seriously connected.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. Now...
Yeah, it is.
Now, from when you started diving, like you said, that was 40-some years ago or whatever, to now today, what do you think about, like, the advances in diving technology? Has it what you expected?
That's amazing. My goodness. Yeah, rebreathers.
Mm-hmm.
A friend of mine has set records, and he has a crew of 7 other people. And they go down in them cenotes in Mexico. The water's 300 feet deep.
Wow.
And they swam for 3 miles underneath all those rocks and stuff.
Uh-huh.
They had to pull 7 tanks each with them, but they were using scooters and things. His gear cost $180,000.
Holy.
But he swam 3 miles under them cenotes,
mm-hmm.
and then came up on the other side. And he said, "What do you think of that?" I said, "I think you're about the craziest person I've ever met."
I heard that.
Yeah, I have taken chances.
Right.
But for me, I weigh it out like risk reward. But there ain't no Spanish galleons down in them cenotes. What the hell do you want to go down there for?
Exactly. Just to swim under some rocks? No. I'm good.
Yeah, what's the risk here, and what's the potential reward?
Yeah, what's the reward?
I say that a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Not a lot. No. Just to be able to say you did it, I guess, because that's quite a feat to be able to do that. But
well, have you been on any dives or shipwrecks on the West Coast?
I've dove the West Coast a couple of times. There was a Gold Rush steamer that sank. In fact, I'll tell you everything about it.
Oh, cool.
Anybody in California listening, write this down. There's a book called Tragedy at Honda. And Honda is located 80 miles north of Santa Barbara. Back around the early 1900s, 7 U.S. Navy destroyers followed each other right into the rocks and busted up and sank. And some of them, the pieces of them, are on top of an 1850s gold rush steamer from California that has many, many millions of dollars in early San Francisco mint gold coins.
Man.
I talked to a couple of guys who had actually recovered some coins off of that. They brought back a bag of coins and sat in the motel one night and sold them all for $1 million.
Holy cow.
So the best way we could get there, we flew to California. We went to Santa Barbara. We rented a nice-sized boat at that marina. And Honda, tragedy at Honda, is 80 miles north of Santa Barbara.
Okay.
So there's millions of dollars worth of gold coins in that big wreck mess, but it's not very deep. And I know you California guys, I knew a bunch of them years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They were all pretty much brave enough. They all had gold coins from several of the gold rush steamers.
Sure.
And California is probably as bad or worse than Florida, if that's possible.
Probably worse. More than likely.
Yeah.
What it sounds like.
Jack Haskins had what we call Haskinisms. And one of Jack's Haskinisms is, sooner or later, if you're lucky, you can vote a politician out of office.
Mm-hmm.
But bureaucrats are forever like herpes.
Yeah. Agreed.
They are. There's no honor at all. I've sat with so many of them. You could insult their mothers and they'd sit there with a stupid grin on their face because they know that you're screwed. That they have screwed you. They come to these what they call input meetings down in the Keys.
Uh-huh.
They'd come down from Washington and they'd explain to you why they're going to take over Monroe County, which they did.
Uh-huh.
It's now a gigantic sanctuary. All the Keys are owned by NOAA. And they came down to what they said was to get our input on it.
Right.
And I told them, I said, our input don't mean crap to you. You already know what you're going to do.
Right.
This is just a token thing so the public won't be too mad about it.
Right.
Which it is.
Yeah,
But,
it's true.
anyway, there's no honor at all in bureaucracy.
No.
I don't suppose how they could even look in the mirror in the morning. But there's a big bureaucrat here, he's retired now in Tallahassee.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote an article about recovering an astrolabe. But I told the truth about the astrolabe, but I just didn't give the right location and the right year. But I put in the book, I said, we found it on my 50th birthday.
Okay.
And then, sure enough, the thing got out in print. And he called up a guy I know down in the Keys and said, find out when Fismer's birthday is. Because he thought if I took it after they made it a giant sanctuary, he could get me in trouble.
Sure.
And I said, they're paying that hunk of nothing to sit in Tallahassee at a high salary and Cadillac benefits to read treasure magazines. Yeah. And my friend in the Keys said, well, his name was Roger. He said, well, Roger doesn't believe in selling artifacts. And I said, well, Roger doesn't have to earn a living.
Right.
If he had any integrity or pride, he'd get a real job instead of sucking off the public.
I bet you've been in their crosshairs quite a few times. Yeah.
Yes, I have.
I
I
guarantee
always
you
have,
have.
and I don't mind. It makes. I know somewhere Jack Haskins is enjoying it.
Uh-huh. Yep, he's very smiling. Because, you see, I could see that. You definitely be, in their crosshairs. They watch you, and it's like, I'm sure you've dealt with an awful lot.
I was going to say, it's stories like that you hear about, the government and everything taking stuff away from you. If I ever found a big treasure somewhere and I found a big catch of gold or silver coins, I'm sorry, I would just smelt it down because it's just gold. I'm not gonna take a chance of getting it taken away. You know what I mean? I just sorry, I might keep a piece back or something, but other than that, it's getting smelted.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that because that might be the only way.
It might be.
The one thing that keeps me coming back here to the fleet, there's a few coins that actually could reach one coin $1 million in an auction.
What?
And I know they're right here on this fleet. I've been working this summer in the area that has produced more gold coins than any of the other areas. But so far, we're not having a lot of luck. But I know it's here. 4 years ago, they found a nice hole, 7 feet of water, and a hole with 396 gold coins in it.
Wow.
9 of them were called royals.
Right.
About 8 months ago, they auctioned one of them. One of them brought $450,000.
Wow.
But there are royals here, somewhere here where I'm at today, that would bring $1 million in an auction.
What would make that one such a special coin?
Well, my feeling is it'd have to be dated 1697.
Okay.
And it came from King Charles II.
Okay.
The one that brought 450,000 was of King Philip V,
right,
dated 1715.
Wow.
But you see, we don't really know. The oldest one we know is a 1698.
Gotcha.
Charles II.
Okay.
And of course, Tallahassee took that one. Of course they did.
Yeah.
None of them
Well,
Tallahassee people ever did anything or found anything
No.
or done anything productive at all.
Right.
It's all decent.
Well, yeah, but
all of it.
But say I was to come down there and I decided to go diving and I found one of those coins and I turn around and I try to sell it, would they take that coin away from me?
Well, if you were diving, they would, because you're not allowed to treasure hunt in the water. You can bring your metal detector, and you can still metal detect on the beaches, although they're chipping away at that. They are chipping away at it. But if you find it on the beach right now legally, it's yours.
Okay.
And that's what they don't want none of that stuff going on.
No,
I'll be darned.
they don't. But if you're,
Yeah.
if you was swimming,
Yeah.
if you was swimming out in the water and you picked it up with your foot, and they'd probably take it.
Well, then you could come in and say, I found this on the beach.
Oh yeah, okay. All right, as long as,
I'm
you're not
done.
diving.
I'm sure it's been done before.
Yeah, well, heck yeah. That's what I'd be claiming.
Yeah. Well, to look in the water, you have to have a contract like I've got. There's 19 of us this year with contracts, and we're all working between Fort Pierce and Sebastian.
Right. Now, do you guys got to get those contracts renewed every year or something? Or like a mining claim kind of thing? Okay. So kind of like a lease on the wrecks, or?
Well, it's permission to work from the outfit I told you about named the Queen's Jewel.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And they treasure hunt too, but their big job is fighting bureaucracy, and I don't envy them that.
Mm-hmm. Wow. It sounds like it's just getting tougher for you guys, though. You know.
It is. It's getting tougher for you too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the metal detector guys in Ohio.
Yeah.
It's getting tougher for them.
Oh yeah.
And the metal detector guys in Oregon, it's getting better or worse for them.
Yeah,
it's not getting better anywhere.
No, it's not. It's getting. It's just.
I called a friend of mine who was an editor for a magazine. I've been on I've been on 24 magazine covers, the
Jeez.
treasure magazines. And I called one of the editors, it's a friend of mine, and because I read it, this was years ago before I was smart, and I said, you edited out a couple of lines in there. And she said, Fizz, I didn't do that. She said, the owner of the magazine did that. He reads every one, and sometimes he has to redline a sentence or two. And I said, well, why would he do that? We're on the same team. We're fighting bureaucracy.
Right.
And she said, he doesn't want the IRS crawling up his butt.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And you know, that's true.
Yeah.
And the same way with the metal detector companies. I used to go to the big show in Texas every year, and all of the metal detector companies practically showed up there.
Right.
And I asked them, I said, you know, they're passing all these laws and things. It's got to be hurting their business. And he said the same thing, basically. The owner, you probably know the name if I said it, but and he didn't say but. He said the word that starts with an A and has two S's behind it. And he said he didn't want the IRS crawling up there.
Yeah, see? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what it all boils down to, I guess.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It's if they got the power,
right,
and they've got the power, and they're going to use it.
Yeah, and they're going to make the rules. That's what it's, you know.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like. You know, it's like a playground or something, and they make the rules.
It's the only reason I'm glad I'm old.
You ain't
I'm
old.
not glad I'm old. I don't like being old. But I probably will be gone before the final flush of the toilet.
Right.
Yeah. That's where all the treasure hunters go down into the septic tank.
Sure. Yeah. I hope it never happens, you know, but at the rate it's going, you never know. You know, that's the sad thing.
Well,
yeah,
every day there's another piece of ground
you
couldn't metal detect on. Every day.
Oh, yeah. Or land closures, like you said, that prevent us from mining and prospecting and, like you said, metal detecting, all the things we love to do, that they just keep snatching that land and taking away our rights. You know, that's the thing. It's crazy is what it is. But, you know, you've left quite a mark on this world, you know, in your years that you have done what you've done. I mean, the legacy that you've created, it's like, man, you're a legend.
Yeah, well, you know what's going to be not too good about that is the winners write the history books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
And I already know what they think about me.
Yeah. Well, that's okay, right? They can have their opinions. Doesn't mean they're right. Right?
That's true.
You know what I mean? Everybody's entitled to one. Doesn't make them right, though. You know, I mean, to me, this has been an honor to have you on our show tonight and to talk to you and to hear some of your stories. It's like, you know, God.
Listen for hours.
What's that, Kathleen?
You can listen for hours.
Yeah, I know. It's like, God, it's...
yeah. Well, like I said earlier, I got lots of treasure stories, and some of them are true.
Well, if they were true or not true, there were some great stories. We loved them. I'm telling you, Carl, thank you. Man, it's you know, I can't thank you enough for joining us tonight, you know, really.
I appreciate
An
you.
honor.
Thanks you all for asking me. I appreciate it.
Oh, God, no. It just blows my mind, and I can't thank you enough. And you're welcome back anytime you'd like to come back and hang out with us a little bit. And, you know, we're always here.
I think it's cool to see, like, someone from Ohio.
Yeah.
That gets big.
Because me and Kathleen's from Ohio.
Yeah. Whereabouts?
Columbus, Ohio.
And I'm up in Akron.
What? Okay. Well, you know where Hamilton is. That's where I'm really from, but nobody ever heard of it, so I just say Cincinnati, which is right
I've heard
next
of
to
it.
See? So you're one of us, Carl. You're one of the Ohioans. So
there's actually gold down there in Ohio that we like to go. and fine.
I believe it. Well, hurry up because they're going to put that off limits.
I know.
Guaranteed.
Hey, I was wondering if you were familiar with the story of Tommy Thompson.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Oh, Tommy Thompson.
He's from Ohio.
That's right.
Yeah, well, he was from Columbus,
Yep.
I believe. Yeah, well, that story, you didn't hear all the real stuff, but those guys did a great job. They collected the weather reports, the currents, and tides, everything, every scrap of information. And sure enough, they found it. I think it was in '86, wasn't it?
It was in the mid '80s. Yeah, the U.S.
It was
American.
85 or 86. There was a guy Bob Appleknapp, I was working for him. He used to be the richest guy in the world, and he owned some islands in the Bahamas. Well, he spent truckloads of money looking in competition for the Central America.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to his island to work for him, and he had told everybody he was going to have the Central American a lady named Sue Graves come up to me. She was the marina manager. She held her hand out and said, "Hi, I'm Sue." I said, "How good to meet you." And she said, "Who's going to find the Central America?" And I said, "Well, it's not your guy if that's what you're thinking." And boy, she comes back like a snake was striking at her. And 2 weeks later, Tommy Thompson and the Columbus America group did find it. They did file the admiralty on it. And she come up to me and said, "I owe you an apology."
Oh.
Wow.
You don't really? I said, "You just didn't know the whole story."
Right.
But here, as you know, with Tommy Thompson, the FBI is looking for him. FBI.
Right.
And he disappeared and he stole a lot of stuff. If that was me, I'd have went nuttier before he did. I'd have done something because everything now is against you.
Right.
77 lawsuits 2 days later and all kinds of crap like that. So he grabbed something and ran.
Mm-hmm.
They were looking for him in South America. They were looking for him in Europe. And you know where he was? Right here at Vero Beach in a motel.
Yeah, he was in Florida. Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's right here with all the treasure. This is Vero. And from where I'm sitting, he was only about 10 miles away.
Wow.
And they had a picture of him. Somebody got a picture of him standing on the second story balcony. You know, here in the hotel room, you step out and you look around. It's early in the morning. Of course, he had his underwear on, and his hair was messed up. And whoever took that picture said, "But he was wearing dirty underwear and his hair's all messy." I said, "Boy, you piece of crap." There's always two sides to everything.
Yep.
Right.
Yep, you're right. There is always.
It sounds really political too. I mean, with all of the hands that were involved, it was kind of.
That's right. Yeah,
It
and the story of the other people looking for it, and you know as far as I know, the only people that profited from that is a bunch of attorneys.
Yep.
Oh, of course, right?
Yep.
Yeah, them attorneys are from, I think, Richmond, Virginia. They flew me up there to talk with them.
Really?
These attorneys. Yeah, and because they wanted to get into treasure hunting. I forget the name of the firm, but it was like way up in the elevator, and they had the whole floor, and there was a gigantic meeting room with these big tables and chairs and actually a bar in there and all kinds of things. I thought of the movie The Firm now.
Right.
Because that's exactly, they were all in ties and stuff. You know, I come in wearing old raggedy clothes and a T-shirt, and I sat at the head of the table, and we talked for hours. But then after I left, I guess they decided they didn't want me back because I guess talking to them, you have to be some type of scallywag or liar or something. But I sat there and told the truth.
Right.
So they never asked me to come back.
Nobody likes the truth, right?
They didn't want the truth. That's why they couldn't handle the truth. That was the problem.
I thought about saying that. I swear there was like 30 of them.
No
It's
kidding.
a big firm, yeah, and they're the ones that were sucking the money.
Sure.
Yeah, and they liked it so much they wanted to go treasure hunt, but they never went with me.
Wow.
I don't know what happened after that.
God only knows, right? Man, oh man.
Yeah.
Man. That's just
Yeah.
craziness. I'm telling you. Carl,
Fun
thank you.
stuff. Yeah. Well, anyway, it's
Thank
been
you.
fun. We can do it some more if you want.
Okay. We can go for 15 more minutes if you want.
Oh, well,
It's up to you.
yeah.
It's up to you.
There was there was all kinds of, a lot of the funny stories, like the witch and the penguin,
Right.
sprang from a real treasure story, and people who actually believed they had tracked it down, but they needed somebody like me to check it out.
Sure.
And and so in the Humboldt current, the mistake I made, I said, well, it's July. I'll be fine. I just need this thin jacket to dive in.
You learned
But
real
there's
quick.
lots of stories like that.
Right. So how many times in your life has somebody come up to you and said, I found this ship, I need a good diver. You're the man. Would you dive on it and see if this is what I think it is? How many times has that happened in your life?
Well, here's what happens mostly. A guy that I've made friends with, he lives here on the Treasure Coast.
Right.
And we got to be pretty good friends, and he got to where he has a location, and he told me a little bit about it. and I've been waiting since the 1960s, and I think that I think if you find this, I'll tell you all about it and where it's at. And if you find it, I know you'll take care of me. And I said, yes, I will, and I will. And so he said, okay, give me a call. And so I called him up 2 days later, and I said, yeah, I'm ready for those numbers. And he said, I hate to tell you this, but my wife said, no, don't do it.
Huh?
And I said, well, it's the greed factor and the no trust factor sets in.
Right.
Now, he told me that he's going to get certified to dive, and then he's going to go out and find it. And I hope that he does that. I hope he does, but I've had a lot of other people, similar situations, where for some reason they changed their mind. One wreck in the Gulf of Mexico, and we've spent the last 20 years part-time looking for it, because the guy who was going to take me diving on it changed his mind at the last minute.
Okay.
However, we just recently found it.
Oh, wow.
Now,
Nice.
we found some of it. This thing is scattered like you wouldn't believe. And there's a good reason why it's scattered, but we found pieces of it. The research says there's a lot of gold on board, so
Wow.
as soon as I get done here, I'm going back over there.
Nice.
And it's in the Gulf of Mexico. But it was another case. The guy showed me stuff he had picked up. He showed me pictures and stuff.
Right.
Showed me things he brought up.
Mm-hmm.
Said he's going to take me there. Well, we got in the boat. We were headed out towards it. But I knew when he started whispering in the boat operator's ear, I knew he was telling him, don't really go there. He changed his mind, and we didn't.
Aw.
So, and now we've been looking part-time for that for like 20 years.
Oh, wow.
But we did find it.
Right.
So if he'd have just told us before, he'd have had a nice bite out
Sure.
of it.
Well,
But-
yeah.
But, he got greedy.
Yeah, of course.
So,
Like Kathleen said, what gold does to people, that's the thing.
she's right.
Mhm.
There is a thing called gold fever.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, you can actually, if you've got gold on the table, and if you look around the room, you can actually see people being affected by that.
Sure. Yeah.
That's the best way I can put it.
You're right.
And I guess that's gold fever.
You're right. Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's a crazy metal, but we all love it.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, gosh, but you are finding gold that dates back hundreds and hundreds of years, and it's coins, and it's cool stuff. It's like, it's just, to find one relic off an old ship would be the coolest thing in the world, but to find a coin, a Spanish coin, would just be like, that's it. That's like the holy grail. I don't have to search no more.
That is what it is. That's right.
I mean, because it's like, how do you find better than that? It's like, wow, it's just amazing to be the person. You put your hands on it, and the last person.
I had mentioned before that I spent 6 years looking and not finding stuff.
Right.
And of course, money has always been a problem. I had the cheapest boat and the cheapest motor, and I read in this book. A guy from Australia wrote it, Treasure Hunter, and he called this little machine he made an ear, E-A-R, an ear. And basically, you encase a microphone in lead and make it watertight, and then you plug it into an amplifier on the boat, and then you start dragging it behind the boat.
Right.
And as long as it's going in sand, it's going like that.
Right.
Or if it hits a rock, it'll go like bump, bump. Or if it hits metal, it'll go clank, clank. And it cost me $15 to make that, and I called it the poor man's magnetometer. And I was listening to the bang, bang. I'm listening to them right now, and then all of a sudden that thing started picking up the local radio station, and the music's coming over it.
What?
So now I'm just listening to the music and not paying attention to the clunk, clunk, bang, bang thing.
And then?
And then that was it. I threw it away. I built something else. But, magnetometer, that's why I spent 6 years doing that. And then when I got with D.L. Cheney and I got that Harding metal detector, I went into Hawk. $4,000 for a metal detector.
Yeah.
Today, hell, there's none out there today for that price that I know of.
Not for
but
underwater.
That Harding was the best.
Man. That's crazy, though. But what's cool to me is the last time that treasure was touched was when they loaded it on that ship, and then it's been on the bottom of the ocean since, and then you come along and you find it, and it's like, that's cool. And you got stuff in museums, and
yes, I do.
That's just cool. That stuff will be there forever, and that's just the coolest thing ever. It is. It's just, I don't know. I wouldn't know what to do. I really wouldn't. Do you ever see yourself retiring and just stopping completely?
No, that's not going to happen.
I didn't think so.
I guess I don't even look at it as working. It's just
right.
I've been the pivot man in this business. I'm the one that gets stuff done that nobody else can do. And a lot of times we're on a wild goose chase and we lost a lot of money.
Right.
But there's been times I've made a lot of money.
Sure.
There's been times we made some money, and there's times we broke even. There's times when, oh my God, we lost, but we keep trying.
Sure, and you're always going to keep trying. You're going to keep swinging because that's what you do. It's just in you. And it's your nature, and you're never going to give up. Now, when's this new book coming out?
Recently, I've found more information in some of Jack's boxes, and he has, I told you at least 200,000 pages in research.
Right.
And them big boxes of paper you get for computer paper.
Yeah.
They have thousands of sheets. I have 42 of those.
Oh, geez.
Full of information. A friend of mine is a curator for Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard of Odyssey?
Yeah.
And his name is Luis Camacho.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not the prize fighter Camacho. He's the researcher Camacho.
Right.
And, yeah. By the way, the fighter Camacho was walking down the street in New York with his girlfriends, and two guys tried to mug him. They're suing him from the hospital.
What?
Yeah, he's one of them cage fighters, and so every time I see my Luis Camacho guy, I tease him about it, but it's all right anyway. He's the researcher for Odyssey, and he came over and he looked at Jack's stuff, and that's how I knew, because he said, Fizz, nobody had more respect for Jack than I did.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he was the best in our business, but I had no idea it was so extensive. When I met Jack, he didn't even have a television set. He'd go to Seville, Spain, and to do whatever people hired him to do. But while he was there, he had people working in the archives, microfiche, thousands of documents, thousands. And now I've got them all.
That's cool. And wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's just amazing. So it's going to be a little bit then before the new book comes out then, because you got it.
Well, right now I'm going to guess between the middle of next month and the end of next month.
Okay.
The museum in St. Augustine wants to set a date for a book signing, and they call me every day, and I say, I'm working on it.
It's getting done. Now, people can, when the book comes out, they can probably get that from your website, correct?
Yes, that, and it'll be on Amazon, I'm sure.
Of course.
I like that. Amazon. It's like finding money.
I love Amazon.
They put money in my bank every month, and I didn't have to do nothing to get it.
Oh, they take money from my bank every month because I just can't stay off of Amazon. I just always something you need to buy, it seems like. But yeah, people can check out your website at carlfismer.com, and it right there just shows your books and some of the artifacts you found. It's pretty cool, so they could check that out. It's pretty neat.
Appreciate that.
Oh, you're
Thanks.
welcome.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, anytime, man. Not a problem. But, Carl, thanks again, brother, for stopping by. We've had a great time, and come back and hang out with us again sometime, okay?
I'd be happy. You guys are in Ohio?
Yes, sir.
Which town?
I'm in Akron. Kathleen and Shad's up in Columbus.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm in Indiana.
Just double checking. I
Yeah.
hardly get to talk to people in Ohio.
Right.
But I'd like to anytime. And thank all of you for giving me this platform to vent a little bit too.
Buddy, it's been our pleasure. Trust me. It's been an honor, and thank you again. And come back anytime you want. You know how to get a hold of me. If not, I'll be getting hold of you. All right?
Well, let's do that. Please do that.
I will, Carl. I promise. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you, buddy. You have a great evening.
See ya.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
Yes, you will.
Thanks,
I
Carl.
hope.
All right. Bye,
Thank
buddy.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Awesome. Boy.
I could listen to him for
Oh
hours.
my God, I could too. Jeez, I could just see sitting in a room with him and just listening to him. You know, him sitting in a recliner, and you're sitting in a chair and just sitting on the edge of your seat, just listening to these stories. I mean, wow. I can only imagine the things he's seen and done over the years that he can't talk about. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, what a life. That is crazy. Carl Fismer, man, great guest. Really enjoyed that. Shoot, Shad,
Hey, what's up?
you there?
I
Yeah, I
am.
know, right?
I know. I thought it was.
Hey, I'm a producer, not a co-host, not on the intro, so I don't talk.
Man, well, what's happened with that precious metal prices?
Everything's down.
Uh-oh, how bad?
Gold's down $12, 1,506. Silver down 52 cents, $18.15. Platinum's down $12, 949 cents. Palladium's down $23 at 1,535. And even rhodium, fell $275 to $4,605.
Rhodium took a big dump, didn't it? Dang, 200.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's crazy. Man, I don't know. Well, did you guys have fun tonight?
Oh, fascinating to listen to.
Yeah, definitely, right? Got to get some of them books he's wrote. You know? Have you read any of
I'm
his
going to have to
books?
look them up. I've never heard of him.
I don't know how.
I've never heard of this guy before. You pregame, you guys are telling me about it.
I don't know how.
I don't either.
You've heard of Mel Fisher, right?
No.
Have you heard of Jacques Cousteau?
Yeah, I heard that.
Okay. Well, we're getting warmer then.
It's very interesting, though.
Oh, yeah. You look him up, Dennis. Go to his website. Check it out. You'll see. Yeah. Yeah, you'll know. Then it might pop into your head. Oh, you know, because I'm sure you've seen
It might.
like documentaries and stuff like that, or they've been mentioned and stuff. So, yeah, check him out. Check him out for sure. It's pretty cool. And like I said, anybody wants to purchase his books can go to his website, Carl Fismer, right, Kathleen? Fismer,
yeah.
Fismer.com, and you can get his books there. And I think they actually even sell some relics on his site. You know, it looks like some china and stuff that may have came up from some wrecks. So that's pretty cool. So check it out.
That is cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat, man.
I'm going to check out. I'm going to check out that book, that tragedy of Honda.
Oh, that one about that. Yeah, that sounds interesting too, didn't it?
Yeah. Yep, I'm going to look up the book and probably get it and read it.
Yeah, I wrote that down too.
It might be a good lost treasure story.
Yeah, it might be. See? Kathleen, have you read any of his books?
I started to,
You did? Okay.
but I've got like a big stack of books that I always start. I have to finish them.
Well, I know you're the reader of this group.
Yeah, when I have time.
So it's like, I know if anybody's read it, it'd be you.
I'm definitely gonna look through stuff.
Yeah, and we'll definitely have him on again. You know, I mean, definitely pick his brain some more, hear some more of these stories. You know, that'd be cool. And like I said, great show though. And don't forget, right now over on GPS, we're doing a fundraiser raffle. Our good friends Bill over at Carolina Prospector donated a Mad Max water table, and you can get in on that for just $1 a ticket for your donation. Every dollar donation gets you a ticket and a shot at that water table and a bag of Carolina Prospectors pay dirt we're going to throw in there too. That way you have something to run on that new water table if you win it. So check that out. It's very simple. Shad, did you want to do birthdays tonight?
Oh, sure, yeah. Let me pull them back up here. It's September 8th, and we had quite a bit.
Quite a bit?
Quite a bit.
Is Dennis singing for you, or you singing, Denny?
Well, I can if you want me to.
No, it's up to
Love
you.
to.
I'd
love to.
We always leave that up to you. All right, well, go on, take it.
Oh,
away.
yeah.
Sing it for us there. Sing it for. Are you not going to sing?
I guess not.
I guess he's not going to sing tonight. Wait a minute. Oh, there he goes.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
There you go. Did that sound low to you?
It did, and staticky.
It sounded. I didn't hear no static, just low.
Oh, it was bad.
I wonder. Really?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm on my phone tonight. That's why.
Ah, okay. Oh, yep, there it is. All right, Shad.
All right, so we have Alexander Scott Davis, Bill Shook, Dennis Linster, Don Gronk, James Kenneth Jewell, Jason Holt, Jason Nicholson, Jeff Kell, Jim McBride, Joseph Turner, Ken Jewell, Laura, Mark, Mike O'Connell, Scott Ragar, Steve Edgell, and Travis. And tomorrow I can only see Dale R. and Diana Sue Baker.
All right. Well, happy birthday. Happy
birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it Ken, the mountain man's birthday today, dude?
I haven't seen nothing that it was Ken's.
I saw it on Facebook.
Oh, where's my phone? I haven't
Maybe that was yesterday.
I don't know. I don't know. All right. Messing with Swiftwater. What do we got? Anything? Anybody?
I haven't been paying attention. What's he doing besides fishing?
Besides catfishing? Nothing. Absolutely.
He's the captain.
I haven't heard nothing from him. I haven't seen nothing. So all I got is he's catfishing.
Somebody shared a pic of him from 4 years ago with a shirt off and a girl's cowboy hat.
What?
Oh, yeah, I did. I seen that. That's right.
Oh, no.
It was like, yeah, even back then he couldn't keep his dang shirt on. It's like,
Yeah, and he's really proud of a test that he took online about identifying freshwater fish. He got a 96 out of 100, so he was really proud of that.
oh, my God, Scott. I didn't know. I thought he was going to make it tonight. But then again, this is Sunday, and this is Scott, so...
Catfishing.
Yep, catfishing. It's like, we know how that goes. Catfish are more important, obviously, Scott. We'll remember that. Well, I think that about does it, guys. You got anything else? Are we missing anything?
No.
No? Is everything? We got everything covered?
Yep.
All right, well, guess
Good night,
we're
Digger.
here. Thank you, Kathleen, for the preempted strike. All right, we're out of here. Don't forget to join us Wednesday at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for West Coast Wednesday. We'll see you then. Have a great week, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Be sure to tune in next Sunday at 7:30 for another great show. For updates and more info, please go to www.prospectorsradio.com.